The starship Horizon reached the royal arena of Velian Prime, just as the twin suns rose over the crystalline spires. The sight was stunning, but none aboard the ship had time to admire it. They were occupied with the one human stepping forward to meet an impossible challenge. His name was Daniel, and though he looked calm, even the crew could guess the storm thrashing under his steady exterior. Velian Prime was known across the spiral arm for its strict traditions. Its rulers valued strength and honor above all. They also loved spectacle, especially public contests that tested a warrior's will. Daniel had not traveled there for glory. He had come for an alliance that Earth needed. Without it, the colonies of nearby systems would remain vulnerable to a hostile frontier. The Velians had resources, fleets, and influence. They also had a princess whose sharp mind could weigh the worth of an entire species with one glance. Daniel met that glance as he stepped onto the gleaming platform. The princess stood above the arena on a balcony, surrounded by guards who wore crystal armor that sparkled like ice. She carried herself with an air that was both regal and challenging. Her pale silver eyes held an amused glint. When she smirked, the entire arena rippled with tension. She raised her voice so the crowd could hear every word. She spoke with perfect clarity. Her tone was cold and confident. You seek an alliance. You seek respect. You seek a place among the powers of this region. Yet words are cheap, human. Here, strength speaks. Beat my champion, and I'm yours. The thousands in attendance erupted in wild cheers. They loved bold wagers, and the princess had made a daring one. Not a promise of romance, but a declaration of allegiance. If Daniel defeated her chosen champion, she would grant him partnership, support, and the authority to negotiate terms with her counsel. Daniel did not flinch. He met her gaze with unwavering steadiness. He had been warned that she tested all outsiders. He had not been warned that she would make such a public challenge. Still, he accepted it. Earth needed this victory. The ground beneath him shifted slowly as platforms spread apart. The arena rearranged itself into a wide battleground of stone and metal. He saw pillars rising and then locking into place, leaving varied terrain that favored mobility. The princess had designed the environment to test him fully. She seemed amused when she noticed him studying the field. The champion entered next. The ground shook with each step. The warrior was twice Daniel's height, with dark metal plates fused into his skin. His movements were smooth despite the heavy armor, revealing strength and control. The crowd roared his name, though Daniel could not understand it. The champion carried a long staff with a glowing tip. The princess lifted a hand. Silence fell. Begin. Daniel breathed once and then moved. He leaped to the side as the champion charged with surprising speed for someone so large. The staff missed him by a fraction, slamming into the ground and sending a shockwave that cracked stone. Daniel rolled and sprang back to his feet. He had trained for months for this mission. Earth had no shortage of threats. Humanity had learned that its survival depended on adaptability. Daniel had become one of its finest, not by brute strength, but by speed, strategy, and relentless will. The champion attacked again, sweeping the staff in a wide arc. Daniel ducked under it and darted forward, striking the warrior's side with precise force. The blow landed cleanly, but barely made an impact. The giant responded with a hammering backhand that forced Daniel to retreat. The crowd cheered louder. They loved displays of overwhelming power. Many doubted Daniel's chances. Yet the princess watched quietly, her expression unreadable. Daniel circled around his opponent, analyzing every movement. He knew he could not trade blows directly. He had to use the terrain. One of the pillars near him had glowing vines wrapped around it. The vines crackled with energy. They must have some purpose in the test. He sprinted toward the pillar. The champion followed, swinging the staff in long arcs. Daniel reached the vines, grabbed one in each hand, and slid behind the pillar for cover. The champion's staff hit the pillar, causing a burst of sparks. Daniel jumped and swung outward with the vines, using their energy to propel himself. As he launched, the vines released a surge that ran through his arms. It hurt, but it also accelerated him. He flew toward the champion, faster than expected. The crowd gasped. He landed on the champion's shoulder and locked an arm around the warrior's neck. The champion roared and tried to shake him off. Daniel tightened his grip and drove his elbow down onto a joint between two armor plates. A crack appeared. The champion stumbled. Daniel slid down the giant's back and landed behind him. He struck the damaged joint again with the heel of his hand. The armor plate snapped loose. This time, the champion roared in pain. From the balcony above, the princess leaned forward slightly. Her expression changed. The smirk faded into interest. Daniel pressed the advantage. He moved like a flurry, striking fast enough that the champion struggled to keep up. The warrior's size had become a weakness. Each time he swung the staff, Daniel was already somewhere else. But then the champion changed tactics. He slammed the staff to the ground again, creating a shockwave that flattened the terrain around them. Daniel was thrown backward, sliding across the cracked stone. The champion moved in for a finishing strike. Daniel forced himself to rise despite the ache in his limbs. He had one chance left. He glanced toward a metal plate embedded in the ground. He ran for it, diving over it as the champion stepped onto it. He struck a control node built into the plate with his fist. The plate lit up. A burst of energy shot upward through it. The champion howled as the surge electrified his armor. He dropped the staff. Daniel pushed himself up and sprinted toward the dropping staff. He caught it just before it hit the ground. The crowd roared with surprise. Even some guards on the balcony looked shocked. Daniel planted the staff, spun it, and struck the champion's exposed joint with the glowing tip. The energy coursed through the weakened point. The giant dropped to one knee. Daniel stepped back as the champion reached for him. Then he drove the staff into the ground, sending a final shock through the terrain. The energy destabilized the area around the giant. The stone gave way, and the champion collapsed fully. Silence fell across the arena, thick and absolute. The champion did not rise. A moment passed, then another. The princess stood slowly. She raised her hand. The crowd erupted into thunderous cheers. The sound shook the crystals of the arena walls. Daniel bent forward, breathing hard but standing tall. The princess spoke with a voice that carried authority through the entire arena. The human has prevailed. His strength of will surpasses expectation. His skill honors this arena. I accept my vow. She descended from the balcony with calm precision. Her guards followed close behind, though none looked eager to intervene. Daniel straightened as she approached him. When she stopped before him, her expression held neither mockery nor testing amusement. Only respect remained. She lifted her hand toward him. You have earned partnership with Velian Prime. By defeating my champion, you have proven that humanity deserves recognition. You have also proven that you yourself are worthy of standing beside me in negotiations. Daniel placed his hand over his heart and bowed slightly. The gesture was simple, but it carried sincerity. The princess seemed to appreciate it. Her eyes softened. You surprise us, human. Your people have risen from a small world on the edge of known space. Yet here you stand, victorious where many have. Failed. Daniel finally allowed himself a small smile. We are. Persistent. The princess tilted her head. And you are. Bold. The crowd continued cheering as she gestured for him to follow her toward the council chamber. Guards stepped aside. Doors of shimmering metal parted. As they walked, She observed him with a thoughtful gaze. You fought with ingenuity rather than overwhelming force. You used what you had. You adapted. This is why you succeeded. Daniel nodded. Double quotes Earth learned long ago that we cannot rely on size or raw strength. We rely on our minds and our will. She considered this. Perhaps it makes your species dangerous. Or perhaps it makes you valuable. They entered the long corridor leading to the council hall. The walls displayed murals of great battles from Velian history. Warriors in crystal armor fought against cosmic beasts. Armies clashed beneath storms of energy. But Daniel noticed something else in the art. A recurring theme. Every victory came from unity. Even the strongest warrior fought beside others. The princess noticed him studying the murals. Our ancestors believed that strength must be shared. Even the mightiest cannot stand alone. Daniel nodded. Humans learned that too. Eventually. She looked at him with a faint smile. You stand here alone. Yet you fight for many. They reached the hall where the alliance would be formalized. Representatives waited at a long table. Some looked skeptical. Others looked impressed. The princess stepped forward with authority. This human has earned our respect in the arena. He has proven the worth of his people. I grant him my support. Together we will discuss the terms of our alliance. The council members bowed their heads. Respect for the princess outweighed all doubts. Daniel took his place at the table. His muscles still ached, but his will was strong. The alliance he had fought for was now within reach. The princess stood beside him, her presence steady and commanding. As I said before, human. Beat my champion, and I'm yours. Now let you.